All right, Moto Monday 145, and as promised, I got a phone call interview with a Pacific Northwest rider who's been in all the news lately, but I actually had planned to have him on before any of this happened. So I'm going to make a phone call into none other than Stankdog Gared Steinke. But since we chatted about doing the whole podcast, and from when we actually got to chat to do the podcast, was over the weekend. And over the weekend, a lot went down, including him being the first person in over a decade to put a 125 two-stroke into the 250 main event. And then he had a little bit of a rant, which I'm not going to put the clip of the rant on here because you can find that all over the place. Vital shared it. All those little weird, like, overseas websites that are ran by bots and everything, they got it everywhere. I don't need to post it. It's pretty easy to see. It's all over YouTube. But what I did do is get to have a chat with him. So Stankdog's actually been on the podcast already once, so I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe two. I got to go back and look exactly which episode that was. He was in person, so this is our second time chatting with him. Just this time, a little more drama. But it's fun. So we're going to make the phone call. Stankdog, 726-321, go. What's going on? The man of the week, Gared Steinke.
Justin Wharton, what's going on, dude?
Oh, kind of excited that I set this up before you got internet famous for having I think actually your rant that you put on your Facebook almost got more attention than your epic finish at Supercross.
yeah, I know. You contacted me last week. We were supposed to do this last Monday, but we both got busy and whatnot, and it rolled over this week, and kind of perfect timing, the rant and the good finish, and putting the 125 in the main event. It's a lot to talk about.
I know, it's fun, dude. So you're out there on a 125. For people that don't really know you or follow you as much, you've done a lot of two-stroke things over the years. What made you kind of want to do a 125 in Supercross? Because isn't that going to be a little bit harder than outdoors?
Yeah, definitely riding the 125 in Supercross is harder than outdoors. But the outdoors, I've done it. There's been a few other riders that have done it now. I held both of the points in the 250 class and the 125 class until last year. Carson Brown took the 250 ones away from me, and then Luke Rinsland took the 125 points away from me. And then I kind of figured out, like, oh man, do I ride this two-stroke in Supercross? It's like it hasn't been put in the main event since 2000. I think it's either 2008 or 2007. I believe it was Michael Willard. But then I was like, man, that would be something to do. And I'm still actively, race Supercross and arena cross style tracks. So I'm familiar with the modern style track, and I still do ride the two-stroke, just outdoors. So I was like, let's put two and two together. And it being kind of my last year traveling, racing professionally, like doing the whole entire circus show. I was like, why not just go out with a bang and ride the 125 two-stroke?
Well, it's definitely a good way to go out with a bang, because you're seeing an entire class full of four-strokes. Even the most basic fan is going to notice somebody out there not only just trying, but hanging with people on a two-stroke. I mean, it stands out, It stands out in this 2022.
Yeah, the noise alone, just like you're saying, your average fan, they know the four-stroke. They know that's what everyone races. And then, if they're new to the sport, they might not know so much about the two-stroke. They might know it's a bike here and there, but they might not know that it's half the horsepower, half the bike that a four-stroke is. But they definitely can tell the sound difference. And, just hearing that out there in the stadium, I'm sure they definitely could appreciate it. And, what the heck is that thing?
I noticed watching it, dude, the riding style difference. Like, you look like you're working the bike completely differently. You don't have that torque, you know what I mean? And you're having to throw that thing around almost like it's a pit bike compared to, like, everybody else out on the track.
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me. It does remind me of a pit bike. Like you're saying, Justin. Like you throw it around, and you're a pit bike guy yourself, so you know a thing or two about throwing it around. But yeah, it's kind of more about corner speed too. Like, watching a lot of videos, like the kids that are close to me, right behind me. Like, I feel like all the rhythms I wasn't doing the triples in, and they would kind of catch me in. But then as much as they would catch me, I feel like I would pull back from them in the corners just a little bit. Like, I felt like my corner speed is better on the 125 because you have to work it so much harder, like you're saying.
Yeah, just the riding style. If people are just slow-mo like you and then some of the guys around you, it is different. It seems like, you have to really work it up the lips of the jumps because you don't have just that torque and raw horsepower that they do. But I noticed the corner speed. Like, you were hitting some of those corners, I'm sure pretty tapped in, but still looking smooth. So it's fun. I kind of miss the 125 days. Like you, I grew up racing the two strokes and on that, and that's kind of how I cut my teeth before. I don't know, I don't remember how old I was, but I kind of miss it as much as I don't, and I don't miss everyone throttle locking in the beginner class all over the berms and stuff. I still, you know what I mean? Like I still sometimes miss it, and I had a good time watching that, and I think a lot of other people did too, because you got some TV time, bro. You got some. I mean, I saw Racer X was posting photos of you. You got some love for that. How does it feel nowadays?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? A day and a half later?
Yeah, dude, it's still surreal, man. Like, just getting it into the main event. Like, it was a goal of mine. I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. I thought it would be like more towards the end of the season, like in Denver or Salt Lake, like one of the last two West rounds when everyone's either injured or prepping for outdoors. That was kind of like more or less a realistic goal for me. But then to make it in at the second round, it's just so surreal, and just all the text messages, good, bad. All the fan love. I had a lot of followers on Instagram already. I had like 129K, but just from making the main event and maybe ranting about Steve Mathis a little bit, I jumped up to 141K. So it's like just, all the fans showing me love. It's just so surreal.
So let's talk about that for a second, because your rant was sent to me by dozens of people. I was out trying to run a race and promote, and I don't have the best cell phone service, but it seemed like every time I looked at my phone, it was someone sending me this rant you put on your story. So you have a bone to pick maybe a little bit with another podcast?
Yeah, not so much really anymore. We had a conversation this morning. We kind of squashed the beef a little bit. Just, Pulpamex and Steve Mathis and his whole entire crew kind of just, they badmouthed me before over the years, called me lobster claws and stuff like that for like the past 5 years. And, me having enough, me being the person I am and being very vocal, just, standing up for us riders more or less. I'm sure there's been a bunch of riders that have wanted to say what I said. I just more or less have the balls to say it, and he caught me at a bad time. I will say that. I was, in a high moment, and then just me hearing his shit talking from his previous show just had me all fired up, and I kind of let him have it. I apologized to him for insulting him, but other than that, I just told him don't talk about me on your show, and I won't talk about you in a negative way.
Well, that's fair enough. So did they reach out to you then after hearing about that?
Yeah, he private messaged me a couple of times. Like he called me a snowflake, told me I was being a snowflake and all this, and then another private message, he messaged me and said, "Don't be a pussy," and to call in on his show today. And I just told him, "Fuck you and fuck your show." And he called me about 30 minutes after that, and we kind of had a like bickering back and forth match, and he just mentioned about how much he helped me and how he's given me so much money, which he's given me about $500, and then Jim Hawley gave me $500, and that I owe my straight rhythm win to him and all this bullshit. And it's like, dude, yeah, you got me in the straight rhythm, but like you didn't win the race and all this. Like I put in a lot of work for that race, and don't take it from me. And he was just just kind of sneak dissing the entire time. Like there's saying that, I only qualified because a lot of riders crashed and, just being Steve. And, I apologized for saying what I said to him. And, I still don't appreciate the other people he has go on his show, and that, they've smack talked me before. And so I still told him it's fuck Steve Mathis, fuck Chris Kiefer, and fuck Jason Thomas.
I'm gonna have to go back tonight and listen to this episode because, as we were saying off air, I actually don't listen to a ton of moto podcasts because I do my own. I get enough of that. Like I like to listen to other weird things. I even listened to an alien one the other day, but I don't.
But you listen to Joe Rogan, so that's the best.
I like Joe. It doesn't mean I always agree with Joe, but I do like the Joe Rogan
not
podcast.
Not everything he says is smart, but he does have some logic.
Yeah, and I think he's pretty decent at interviewing. As someone who's been doing it for a little while, thoroughly impressed. Like, I don't know how you do that and navigate through some just, weird situations with people you may have never met in your life, I got some respect for the dude. He's kind of like the god of podcasting right now, so you kind of have to.
Yes, exactly.
And I like elk meat too, so we got that. But but I did not hear that episode. Now I'm going to have to do this after I talk to you, but I'm going to go back and listen to some of that, and just so I have some further context. But I saw the rant, and then I had like 20 people send me the rant, and like I don't know what you guys are talking about, and so I got to fill myself in a little bit on it. But as of now today, you guys have talked a little bit, but doesn't it sound like you're going to go on the show?
Yeah, no, I'll never go on his show again, and I don't think he'll ever want me on his show again.
Well, I'm glad you came on mine. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, no, you have one of the best shows, Justin.
Dude, there's a lot of good ones out there. But
honestly, there's not that many good moto podcast shows out there. Not many people have logic. They think it's just talking about just dirt bikes, and it's not just dirt bikes. You talk about everything too, which is what I enjoy. It's a moto podcast, but it's not only dirt bikes.
Well, I try to let it, I actually, once again, Joe Rogan, I try to take a tip from him, let it go where it goes, because, like, there's a reason you and me are talking. We met each other through moto and we ride, but also, okay, maybe we talk about something else, whatever, like, let it go. And I try not to, and sometimes I definitely don't succeed at this. I try not to go to super biased and the point, like, we're just chatting, I'd like to try to keep it that way.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, that sounds super corny and I need to work on that, but that's the way I try to do, and just kind of keep it just as a chat. And we've had some pretty bland professional ones, and we've had some where, like that, that after show number 100, I don't know if you saw that, where I will never ask you to do this, by the way. If you ever come on in person again, I will never ask you to do this, but whack somebody's butt on their podcast, so, yeah.
I definitely would be more than happy to.
I don't know if I could do it again, man. Like, I did it, and I was a little uncomfortable.
We could do the soap photo shoot.
Oh, I got it. I got to get you some new soap. We just released our newest one, 3 Strokes. So.
Oh yeah, you do. I love, dude. Your soap is awesome. By the way, it's like way better than the Sasquatches and that new shit that's out. Like even just the smell and then the way it works, dude. It's honestly, you need to take the soap further, dude.
The soap was, it's fun. For me, it's just kind of the fun thing. So, yes, I got to get you some. But I'm not used to this many compliments either, so I want to loop back around to also, once again, we talked a little off air, but could you maybe explain more the gear thing? Because at a quick glance, it almost looked like you were wearing street clothes. It's super simple. What's going on with the gear?
Yeah, so the gear is State of Ethos. Dustin Humphrey, he's the creator of it, and his son, Kawana Humphrey. I'm sure you might have heard of him. He's a young super mini rider, Red Bull athlete, very talented. This is kind of like something for, him and his father to do, start a company, and he was owner of Deus at one point. So he's got a lot of creativity behind him, and just the gear, his technique behind it is to not have a bunch of big old branding and just like throwing the the boom, the gear logo in your face on the pants, but the pants have a very, very small, it's kind of like a Levi logo, kind of on the butt patch of it, and
Okay.
then it's just a very plain jersey, just very, very neutral colors, nothing really flashy, no high vis. It's very, very unique. Lots of one-off jerseys and stuff like that, and they just did a gear launch last month, their very first one, and it's I think it's going to take off here for them and get extremely big.
So this is like new stuff.
Yeah, this is very new. We're still in the staging of testing pants, changing pants every time they've ordered something. The pants have been changed on them every single time they came back. Dustin is a perfectionist, and that's his whole goal, is to just make the pant perfect and have a good feel for it.
Nice. Yeah. So I was curious about that because that was another thing that stood out to a lot of people and to me. It's like, well, that doesn't look like normal gear. And I almost thought it was street clothes. I'm looking at it. It's like, well, no, it's looking gear, but it's not covered in neon and 20 logos. So it's different.
Yes, exactly. Very, very plain.
Yeah. It helped add to you standing out because you out there riding in that and on that bike stood out like a sore thumb against everybody else in their dark navy with neon yellow gear and the 250Fs.
Yes, exactly. That's another reason why I really like it. Is it's not everyone wears it, and it's not like the fly gear. Every privateer wears fly gear. They all wear the same color each weekend and week out. He's Dustin's very smart and very creative.
Well, it definitely helped you stand out. And you were mentioning that this might be your last season traveling to all these races. Is that what you're kind of thinking?
Yeah, I'm getting old. I'm 30 years old. Shawnee wants me to keep going and keep racing, and the fans do. But man, my body can only take so much, and I've been doing this since 2010. I've gotten two factory rides in my whole career, and it only being for 2 seasons. So it's like kind of put a lot on the body. Driving and doing all that stuff. I get to see a lot of stuff, a lot of tourism stuff, more than a lot of people, but just I kind of just overgo in places and to race, and only going there to race, and then not getting to do too much. And I kind of getting to the age where I want to take some time for myself and without the dirt bike, and still have some fun racing the dirt bike and do the local races, and keep Scott Russell happy so I can still get those Motorsport Hillsboro dirt bikes. But just no more circus traveling, star to star across the map.
I've never done it, but I imagine it does start to get a little wild to try to plan week in, week out, where you're going to go, stay, and all that. Like, does it just get kind of crazy mid-season?
Yeah, luckily I've been doing it for so long. I kind of have all my friends and all my family in places that I go to, and it's I try to keep it pretty consistent. I keep my friends are like family to me. So I keep it tight knit, and thankfully I've been doing it for so long that we've like the last 4 years have been pretty easy of planning of, okay, we're gonna stay here, okay, we're gonna ride here. But those previous 6 or 7 years, man, they're hectic. Like I feel bad for all the new guys that are coming up, and you're like, man, do I gotta stay at a hotel all week or for 3 days, and then you meet some people and they let you come stay at their house and they feed you some meals, and it gets stressful, man, and it gets expensive, and and then some people's mentality of racing, some fathers behind them are like, they can only do it for so long, and then they got to get sponsors, and then they get sponsors to pay for it for only so long, and then they're done. They didn't really get to experience it. So I'm thankful for it. I've done it for as long as I have, but I am going to be released when that hectic planning of where am I going to stay, or who's going to pay for my racing or anything like that. That'll be a pretty big burden off my shoulders.
Yeah, I bet. And there's so many weekends throughout the year, and it blows me away to this day that most even moto people, even like local racers, don't really realize how little pay you kind of get back from racing professional. Like, it blows me away with their perception. I would love to run a poll someday, even just go to a local track and like, what do you think guys make? Because I've had a lot of friends over the years, the privateers, and
Yeah.
kind of got it just to get an insight on what it's like for them. And like, man, that's kind of gnarly, you know?
Yeah, for example, like just for making the main event this last weekend, I think I'm gonna get like $1,250 from AMA. It's very little. That's not gonna take us very far in the racing world. Considering we buy expensive chains, expensive race gas in our bikes, we change the oil all the time, and yeah, some of that stuff's free for some of us, but it's not all of it's free, and it adds up. And if you don't have sponsor money paying for here, that $1,200 that you just made, it's $225 for your next weekend entry fee. Then you need a $100 can of race gas. Then you're booking your Friday and Saturday night hotel, and before you know it, that $1,200 that turns into $200, and you're not even planning out your weekly meals and stuff like that. It adds up quick, and it's sad to say that you make $1,200 in a Supercross main event like that. But if you're getting into the sport for money, don't do it. Absolutely don't do it. But if you love it like Justin and I, it breaks you. You go broke. Your family goes broke. Your friends go broke trying to support you, and it's a lifestyle, but shit, it's one hell of one.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I definitely never took racing anywhere near that. But I've had a lot of friends who've done it, and I support a few too. And yeah, it's tough. They definitely don't give you much for going out and racing. And it's wild to me that you have almost every sport in the world pays you just to show up, and then you have outdoors and Supercross charges you to show up. Not to start that conversation too much, but they're charging you, and you're racing at the top tier.
They're definitely not making it easy on us, and it's a good thing it's all based on fan support and fan love for us privateers.
And you've done a decent job of building up your fan base too, compared to a lot of people. As you were saying, what are you up to, like 140K now on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm up to 140K on Instagram, and it's that helps tremendously, having a good following on social media, sponsor wise, and then getting, if you have a lot of followers on Instagram, they want to give you stuff, and then when you have quite a bit of few followers on Instagram, they want to start supporting you money wise, posting on your social media for their company, and getting some funding that way. So I'm thankful that I do have a good social media and a cult following.
Yeah, I think it's because you are okay with doing things differently. Like, you can't have always done your own thing and not just been the stereotypical guy. I think that definitely has helped your following. And as someone who sponsors riders, I know sponsors definitely look at that. Whatever it is, if you get that kind of following, they're following you for a reason. And who was I was talking to? I was talking to someone on the podcast a while ago about just different riders in the Northwest, and they're super talented guys who just kind of aren't really clicking with people. And I would say you got the biggest following until, not to bring up another two-stroke guy, but Carson Brown has done pretty decent for himself. But
yes, he has a wide variety. From the two-stroke, he does, I'd say, just as many two-stroke events as I do. I'd say if he's not a little bit faster than me on a two-stroke, he rides them very well. He's young. And then, the pit bike thing, his father being the owner of BBR, and the pit bike love and everything he does on social media, from building bikes from the junkyard all the way up to brand new looking bikes. That he definitely did the right thing in the social media direction, and definitely has a good cult following.
Yes, and he was, I don't like to use that word privilege, but he was a bit privileged to just his family and to supply him that steady, nonstop supply of bikes, because he definitely knows how to smash them too. He was my last week guest, and
Yeah, knows how to break.
yeah, I mean, we all know Carson Brown by this point. He rides that thing until it snaps in half, and then he grabs the next one and just goes and rides. So it definitely
I
helps
think he
put
rides
out content.
every bike so it snaps them in half.
Yeah, yeah, and I've witnessed some of it too. And he'll take a mid '90s XR 100. That's what I have, and just go right until it snaps. So that definitely has helped him. But the two of you guys, I think, are kind of leading the way for Northwest pros and just an audience.
Yes, exactly, and that's kind of, it's sad to say, but that's kind of like what it takes to make it in professional motocross now. Even to be a privateer, it sucks that you have to have a good following on social media.
Yeah, well, people use it as a way to try to connect with you. They like seeing just what you're doing and where you're going. And yeah, a lot of social media can be fake, but a lot of it's just real stuff too. And fans like to see what you're doing. Just what's going on. What are you riding, and what you're doing here. And
yes, exactly. And being just, like you said, just being who I am and being real. And like, Carson, he is who he is on his social media, and he keeps it 100%. And that's just what people love.
Yeah, they're tired of the pre-written out podium speeches that have been repeated for 20 plus years. Like, I think they're kind of liking.
Aaron Plessinger always has the best podium speeches, in my opinion.
Dude, Aaron's fun. Aaron is fun. Yeah, there's a few guys.
He's one of my favorite racers and persons.
There's a few guys I would love to get on at some point, just because like you just sound fun. Like I just would like to see where it goes.
Oh, we'll get Plessinger on for you.
Dude, that would be awesome. I would just like, all right, just go. I'm not even going to ask. Like, if I need to, I'll ask questions. Let's just what's going on?
Yeah, yep. He could talk your ear off.
And no hate to him, as he's one of the best riders in the world. I don't know if I could put in a 30-minute session with Cooper Webb.
He is pretty boring.
He kind of just has that pre-written thing, and just is probably thinking about what he's going to train for the next day.
Yeah. What's on his eating program?
Yeah. Like, once again, I'm not trying to bash the dude. He's one of the best in the world, but I don't know if I could do a full podcast with him. Whereas Plessinger, dude, that would be fun. Like, I'm down.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll get him to come on.
Dude, that would be fun. Well, I'm not going to keep sucking up a ton of your time. One of these days, maybe one of the races this summer. We've got the Moto Limo we're trying to finish up for podcasting. Maybe you get a chance we could do one in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come in on person, and I'd want to come to one of your races. We should put together a pit bike event.
Well, we're planning on a Pit Bike National again sometime this summer. If you can find a pitter, I see that you're halfway decent on a 110.
Yeah, I am been pretty hot on the pit bikes lately. I did actually just recently do one in a blue 10K at the Fox pit bike race against the Palmer brothers, and I led every lap except for the last one. I just tipped over in a corner, and it was 10K to win and $500 for second place. So
that's a rough payout.
That's a rough payout, dude.
Oh, everyone who bashes me on some of my 10K purses, I need to make a copy of this.
No, your purses are A-okay compared to this one.
Jeez. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I've watched a couple videos, so we'll talk more pit bikes later, and then maybe then we can get you in the new Moto Limo and do a in-person podcast.
Absolutely, Justin. Let's do it, dude.
Sweet. Well, you want any final plugs, sponsors, shout-outs, or social media?
Yeah, big shout-out to Scott Russell, Motorsport Hillsboro. I wouldn't be racing if it wasn't for him. State of Ethos Gear, Pulling some Camel TBD, Slim's Top Shelf, Mothership, Haska Racing, MX Tech Suspension, and Maxxis tires and Pit Viper sunglasses.
Right on. And how can people follow you on like Instagram or anything else?
Yep, you can follow me at Instagram at Stankdog726. Follow me on Facebook at Gared Steinke, and then also I have Snapchat at Stankdog726 as well.
Sweet. The Stankdog making waves as the first guy in over a decade to make the main event in a Supercross on a 125 and Pacific Northwest boy, and apparently got a little hating on. Was it the week before? Was it literally the week before?
Yes, sir.
That has to make it even better. So thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, dude. And you guys have a good night and a good rest of your show.
I'll talk to you soon, man. So there you go. Stankdog is in all the news right now, and hopefully people are putting him in the news mostly for the fact of what he did on the bike, not what he said off the bike later, which that got a lot of attention. But the fact that he put a 125 in the main event of a Supercross, that's wild. So that's cool to see from a Pacific Northwest boy. One of these days, I feel like in the very near future, I'm going to have to get him and a couple other two-strokers in the Moto limo. We can chat a little bit more. If you guys have some ideas of some things we could talk about during that one, we have maybe a little more time, hit me up in the comment section, okay? We only had about a half hour or so with him today, and I appreciate him taking the time talking. But maybe when we have a little more time, man, we can get into anything. I brought up aliens. We could talk aliens. I didn't even know his opinion on aliens. We could talk aliens. We can talk about some of his wild helmet designs or, yeah, you name it. Back when he ran a bullseye in the back of his jersey. I believe that was him. I'm pretty sure. If I'm not, if I'm wrong here, my bad. But, yeah, tons of tough stuff we could talk about. That's the only guest I have on today. Honestly, guys, I'm tired. I need a hot shower and a shave because I got back from running a race this weekend, and it was a lot more than I bargained for. I had a lot of staff out, unfortunately sick, and a few issues. Hashtag Soccergate. But, you know, I'm here. I got the podcast done. Trying to do a lot better about getting these podcasts out to you and on time. So doing what I can, start off 22 with a bang, have some fun. Who do you guys think we should have on next? So Northwest boys doing Supercross. We've already covered 3 or 4 of them. We could get, I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys got? Drop a comment. Send me, no, my messenger's blown up. I never check it anymore. It's spam messages or all sorts of weird stuff. So comment. I'll actually read comments before I will my messages. So put a comment section, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. This has been Moto Monday, brought to you by Mini Gladiators. If you guys want to get some Mini Gladiators gear, check out minigladiators.com. Pit bike company that, well, company, I'd say that's a group. We're like a group. We're not a club. We're like a group, just a group of dudes that ride pit bikes and put on rides, put on races like the 2021 Northwest Mini Bike National. We just try to have fun on mini bikes, so check it out. We have a Facebook group, Instagram, website. We're going to start a TikTok. Be like the cool kids. Get on the TikTok game. Check it out. Mini Gladiators, at Mini Gladiators. All that good stuff. So Moto Monday, we're going to be out of here. I am going to go take a shower. And I will see you guys next week.